Matt Damon, great to see you again, my friend.
Great to see you, Dave.
Lot of emotions. I saw a video of you at the Cannes Film Festival. I know how long you all have been working on this movie. I know the emotions that play in this movie, but you're there, you're in the theater, 5 minutes standing ovation, well-deserved, I might add. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? You're there in person.
Well, as you said, we'd been waiting. We'd been sitting on this movie for a while. It was supposed to come out last Thanksgiving, but obviously due to the pandemic, we held on to it. So there was one element was we didn't, it felt like that day would never arrive when we could show people the movie. But the thing that I was really, that kind of snuck up on me was the feeling of being in a movie theater again with a bunch of strangers. Like, it just was great, and how much I missed that. And how different that is from watching stuff at home. I mean, we've all been watching stuff on our TVs for 18 months. And that's a very just different relationship to the material you're watching. You control it, you can stop it and start it. You can kind of do other stuff. You know what I mean? It's a very different, I watch my kids watch stuff, and I worry that we're losing that ability to go into a dark room with a bunch of strangers and have the same experience, as a group.
Well, thanks to you, Matt Damon, I was able to have an icy that I haven't had in quite some time because I saw this in a theater and I'm like, oh, that's right. They have ices again. They have popcorn.
Popcorn and ices.
Dude, and I love ices. Ices Anonymous is what I'm going to need now that I know I can find him. I get my fix again. I have friends that work in oil and gas. Obviously, I live here in Texas. So this particular character reminded me of a lot of people that I know. They didn't go through quite, what your character did, but I have to ask about the accent. How long to get that down for you to nail that Southern accent that you have in this film?
Well, in my 20s, I lived and worked a lot in Texas because a lot of stuff shot down there. So I've spent a lot of my time down throughout the South, particularly Texas, Tennessee. But I hadn't worked or lived in Oklahoma at all. So I just went down there and hung out with those guys, and but the cadence and the rhythm I was familiar with just from having spent so much time down there. And then I have a dialect person that I work with and bounce things off, and and he'll send me recordings of different voices of different people who are really helpful. And then Kenny Baker, who's the roughneck who was really our point of contact down there, was very, very helpful. Throughout, we were talking to him as we shot the movie.
Nice to see you, Abigail.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good, actually. I just told Matt Damon I was able to see this Stillwater, excellent film, in a movie theater, and it reunited me with one of my favorites, an icy. And I love going to the movie, getting a popcorn and an icy. And because
did you get the blue raspberry?
Yes. And I don't know about you, but I mix the flavors. I never really stick with one flavor. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't. I'm not that creative, but I will definitely try it at some point.
Yeah, you just kind of mix all the flavors together, and it's a good little combination there. Anyway, thank you for getting me back into the theater. Cannes Film Festival, standing ovation, 5 minutes, well-deserved, I might add. How did it feel for you, speaking of theaters, to be in that environment?
Yeah, it was really special. I mean, we had all kind of talked on set about how cool it would be to premiere at Cannes since we filmed the movie in Marseille. And I think that we just had no idea if that was even going to be a possibility. So getting to be back in a theater and kind of have that community experience of all watching a movie together and hear people's reactions, and it was just so overwhelming and really exciting, and so happy that it got a good reaction. So it was just awesome.
How do you get ready for a role like this? Honestly, there were points that everybody involved in this story I was like feeling sorry for. I wanted to give everybody a hug. The performance, seriously, and your character really, and no spoilers here, really puts up with a lot.
There was a lot of different things that I tried to do. I definitely read a lot about people who had been falsely imprisoned, and getting to spend some time at Les Baumettes, thankfully not against my will, but getting to spend some time there at the actual prison and see what my day-to-day life would kind of be like was really like invaluable, and just really helped me a lot to understand what it would be like under those circumstances.
Tom, wow. I was a fan of your work before seeing this movie. Okay. But then I saw this film and you've gone up even more notches with me. Incredible, incredible work. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, sir. It's great to hear. I appreciate it.
What was it like for you to be in person? I saw, how the response was at Cannes. Standing ovation, 5 minutes. You're there in a theater. Matt Damon just told me, how great it was to see bodies in seats at a theater, sharing that experience together. As long as you've been working on this film and this story, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Well, really, it was what was going through my mind the 2 hours before that, prior to that moment, which was I could just feel the audience embracing the movie, leaning into the movie, reacting to the movie. A French European audience really kind of connecting with really a movie that's primarily shot in Marseille in France, right, by an American director. You could just feel that. And Matt and the French writers were there with me, and my filmmaking team, producers and such. That was so exciting. Like there are unexpected moments and reactions. And it's like, one, that's why we go to the movies, right? We like to feel that in an audience. We're like, what's happening? It's a collective shared experience, which elevates it from our living room. I don't care how comfortable our couch is. And then secondly, to have them not only embrace it, but then at the end, sort of let us know, it was emotional on so many levels, and just one of those moments as a filmmaker who I'm so deeply inspired by European cinema, by world cinema, to be at that particular festival where it is truly what they celebrate. I'll never forget it.
All right. Something I want to brag on you for a moment, because something that I read, and I had to read it twice. I was like, really? Is this true? You did not film on a soundstage, from what I understand. You were on location for this movie. Wow. That in itself is really cool. Tell me about that.
I had dinner the other night with my production designer, Phil Messina, who just did a terrific job on this movie. And we were discussing that because the one thing we were going to shoot on stage was Virginie's apartment, right? We spent a lot of time in it. Matt's character moves in many ways, it's the heart of the story. They had found this great exterior location for it, right? And we thought, we'll do 2 weeks on this stage outside of town. And then they found this great location, and I went to it. I'm like, can I see what the apartment looks like? And I went in the apartment. I'm like, oh, come on, look at the light, the shutters, look at the Notre Dame out the window and the sea there. And I'm like, and Phil's like, we're not shooting on a stage, are we? I was like, I don't think we are. This city is just too much texture. And fortunately, they embraced it. Even, certain basement locations and things, which are pivotal to the movie. We kept finding these old, incredible basements that have been around for thousands of years. So, the city just kept giving, and we were lucky enough to be there and be on the receiving end of it.
All right. I took 1 year of French when I lived in Santiago, Chile, as a kid. So here we go. Camille Cottin. How did I do with your name?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
And here we go. Ready? Here's the big one. Virginie, your character's name. How did I do?
Perfect. You're great. You did.
Go me. All right. First question, by the way, wonderful film, fantastic role. Everybody did a great job, including yourself. It's such a moving film, but I want to know what you first thought the minute you read the script. What was going through your mind?
Well, I really wanted to do it, of course. And I like the girl, and I like my character a lot, but also I was surprised by the movie because it seemed to be a thriller, and then suddenly it becomes a character movie, and then it takes you to some completely different, somewhere else. I don't want to say genre because I don't like putting things into labels, but yes, I was surprised at the movie, and I was surprised that it's different layers and density, and I thought, yes, this is really like, I was a big fan of Tom McCarthy, and I could find his humanity in the script.
All right, tell me about when you found out who you were working with on this movie, Matt Damon specifically. Tell me about that.
Well, when I auditioned, I knew it was Matt Damon, and I was really, when I started working with him, I was amazed. First, we did a reading, and then the very first scene, he just says, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And the way he said that, I was struck. There was so many not unsaid things implied and such a depth. I was like, I was amazed. And then Matt Damon is what he seems to be. Sometimes you meet people and they're different from what you think they were, but Matt Damon seems to be a great person, kind, and who cares about people, and that's what he is. So that was a good thing to experience.
And so are you, my friend. I've talked to Matt before. He's wonderful. You are as well. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Au revoir.